Oh hey. Oh hey, what's up guys? And welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls 3 Squatters Edition. Guys, I got squats on this. I got squats on this bonfire. You can't have it. You can't have this bonfire because I called squatters on it. So it's mine. It's mine alone. And I'm not moving from this spot. Because my name's Kita and it's Kita Edition. Oh, look at all these people that we have joining us. We have Aegon of Karim over there. We've actually got to talk to our Hawkwood, the deserter. All right, let's go ahead and start with Aegon of Karim.
Ah, I know you. Been some time. I just dropped in to see how she's getting on. Now, what are you playing at with this circus?
Hey, you're here too, buddy.
This cesspool of doddering old folk and degenerates. Couldn't be better. She must fit in perfectly here.
I like you, Aegon. You got a sense of humor.
This place is a cesp. Couldn't hope for better.
Alright, so that's all he's got for us. Let's go ahead and get some level ups while we're here. Not gonna heal the Dark Sigil, because that's just a bad idea for the ending I want. Alright, let's go another maybe I'll go Vigor. Let's go Vigor, and actually let's do an Endurance here. I'm just gonna go with, I think damage will be fine for now. We're good on that. Let's talk to Hawkwood.
You offed the Lords of Cinder, the Undead Legion. So that's how they're delivered to their thrones.
Yep.
I pity the sorry souls. Is that really Lordship's last reward?
Yep. Yes, it is.
I failed to thank you for helping them find their final resting place.
Alright, great. So we get the Farron ring from him, and being that he has that, implication that he knows so much about them, he seems to really care about them, and perhaps he deserted the Undead Legion, as he is known as Hawkwood the Deserter.
I pity the sorry souls.
Alright, let's see what the Farron ring has for us in terms of lore. Farron ring, where are you at? Reduces skill FP consumption. A ring given to the Undead Legion of Farron. The Abyss Watchers, for their hunting, required a sword technique that went beyond any existing art. Wolf's Blood provided just that, and this ring further extends the effect. They like that FP.
I pity them.
Alright, so that's all he's got for us. But yeah, it's pretty heavily implied that Hawkwood was a Undead Legion member and deserted the Undead Legion. Why he deserted them, we actually don't know quite yet.
Now invade and come on.
Yeah, I think that's what he's been telling us all along. We've actually got more to talk to Ludlith about, though. So let's go ahead and talk to our friend Ludlith.
Aha, thou returned, and a fine day it is. So, happened upon any twisted souls?
So now that we've killed the Lord of Cinder, he has something new to say to us.
Ah, most illustrious Lord Seeker. Or should I say, Lord Slayer? Fine kindling for the thrones, is it not? Each soul truly worthy of lordship. And all slain by thy hand, to bind them to their thrones, even in death. Oh, I have no qualms. For as we are to our thrones, thou art to thy duty. In fact, methinks thou'st helped these poor lords along their rightful path.
So, interesting that Ludlith does not care at all. He knows what we did. He doesn't care. Also, looks like there's wax surrounding him. Oh, I guess it's the burnt candle wax. Anyways, also, it's our duty to do this. Just like it's the Lord's duty to be sacrificed into the flame and wait around for it and become cinders as their Lords of Cinders. As the Unkindled, it's our duty to collect them. And that's all he's got for us. But we can go to Transposition and find out a little bit more about some of these bosses I hadn't looked at yet. So let's look at the Crystal Sage first. So the Crystal Sage is that boss I fought on the way to the Cathedral of the Deep. Unique sorcery developed by extraordinary preacher twins known as the Crystal Sages. In a pact said to have been formed long ago, one of the sages allied with the Undead Legion in order to train the sorcerers of Farron. So this was a pact that happened a long time ago. That means a long time ago, before Farron and all that, we had the Grand Archives, which is where they came from, and one of them left the Grand Archives to come train the sorcerers of Farron, and that's where we were, who we just killed. We're the Undead Legion of Farron. So let's go ahead and find the other one from the Crystal Sage. The Crystal Sage's Rapier. It's a thrusting sword used by Crystal Sages for self-defense. The crystals boost the magic damage inflicted by the sword and the item discovery of its wielder, fruits of the lifetime of research conducted by the sages. And Crystal, for those of you who didn't play Dark Souls 1 or who aren't aware, is basically the highest form of magic, as Seath discovered it, and Seath was obsessed with crystals. Alright, so that is Crystal. So let's go ahead and talk about, or the Crystal Sage, let's talk about the Deacons of the Deep. Sorcery of Archdeacon Royce and his deacons said they had been imparted to them by MacDonald of the Boreal Valley. So Archdeacon Royce, again, is that one that we killed, and then we have MacDonald of the Boreal Valley, and MacDonald is actually another Archdeacon, and he is left for the Boreal Valley. Then we have the Deacons of the Deep. Cleric's Candlestick. Candlestick uses both swords and the catalyst used for worship by the Deacons of the Deep. The Deacons, under the guidance of Archdeacon MacDonald, again, here we have finding out that he's an Archdeacon, became both clergymen and sorcerers. And then so there you go, that's the third final Archdeacon. So we have Archdeacon MacDonald, who apparently is in the Boreal Valley, and has been imparting certain guidance to the clergy who remain in the Cathedral of the Deep. Archdeacon Royce, who's in the Cathedral of the Deep, and then our third and final Archdeacon is Klimt, who's serving Rosaria. Alright, and he abandoned his post to serve Rosaria. Let's see, we got Blood of the Wolf. So the Wolf's Knight Greatsword, and this is from the Brotherhood of the Wolf, or the Blood of the Wolf, aka the Farron's Undead Legion. So, Greatsword of a Knight tainted by the dark of the Abyss and master of the Wolf's Blood of Farron. The Wolf Knight was the first Abyss Watcher, and his sword is more punishing against creations of the Abyss. So this is referencing, Artorias, and his sword looks exactly like Artorias' Greatsword. It's not Artorias' Greatsword, but it's very, very similar, as that's what all of this is based off of. And then we've got Farron's Greatsword. Or actually, I guess that is supposed to be Artorias' Greatsword. I don't think it... maybe it is. Anyways, Farron's Greatsword is the other one that looks exactly like the Wolf Knight's Greatsword, so excuse me. I believe the Wolf Knight's Greatsword is Artorias' Greatsword. Anyways, Farron's Greatsword. It's a Greatsword of the Abyss Watchers, which is atypically paired with an unusual dagger. The dagger is utilized as a wedge in the left hand, while the Greatsword is held in the right, a unique technique that was synonymous with the Undead Legion. Co-founds foes in the manner of wolves hunting prey. And there we have it. Cool. I think we've talked about everything else, if I'm not mistaken. So, we're going to go ahead and move on at this point. I think that's all we got to talk about here for the time being. So, I will see you guys back in the Abyss Watchers area. Alright, welcome back to Farron Keep. And all these dead Undead Legion. So, I think we may have found items kind of referencing it, but basically the Farron, like these Undead Legion, when they found some sort of hint of the Abyss, they would just bulldoze the place, essentially, and just destroy all remains of it to get rid of any possible hint of the Abyss. And, oh, what do you know? Beyond them, we have this hidden area that seems locked away, that perhaps they were involved, as they are located right here, and behind them is this. It's very possible, in my opinion, that this may be something that was related to them trying to keep away from people, or to, as they're trying to protect people from the Abyss or destroy the Abyss. Perhaps this is related to that. So let's go down here and see what we've got. When we come across the Catacombs of Carthus. Now, Carthus is a desert region. This is specifically their catacombs. Unfortunately, there are no deserts in this game. It's sad, I know. Oh, there is a shortcut you can take right off the bat, by the way. If you look around, right down here, you'll find a shortcut. This was actually the first area I took. I'm not going to go that way quite yet. Another thing you can notice if you look around, you know, always look at your surroundings. One thing is that there's an opening at the top of this cave, which kind of reminded me of New Londo from Dark Souls 1. And then the other thing is there's that skeleton ball thing, so keep that in mind. Bear that thing in mind. Now notice how this skeleton has his eyes are lit up. That's actually pretty important. So if the skeleton's eyes are lit up, it means that they have this second life here. Not to be confused with the game Second Life. And it means that they're going to come back if you kill them. And they'll lose the glow. So when they have the glow, that means they have another life left, essentially. And once it's gone, they're gone for good. All right, so we found the Carthus Rouge. We're actually going to take a look at that. I think I pronounced that properly. Looks like Rouge to me. Associated with the warriors of Carthus, whose blades take on the scarlet hues of both this sanguine substance and the spatters of their victims' blood. And it adds bleeding. So these guys are known to be pretty brutal, these Carthus warriors here. Alright, I always have the problem where anytime that I target this guy, which is how I like to do it if I'm going to try to parry him, and I dodge away, I end up rolling off the edge by accident, because you can't control the direction fully when you're targeting. It's just a left, right, forward, or back roll. So I always end up rolling off the edge and dying. So I have decided to wait for my targeting. These guys drop large Titanite shards like candy and Titanite shards. Also, though, that guy happens to have my favorite sword, which is, as many of you have guessed, the Carthus Curved Sword. So I am going to go ahead and farm for that in this episode if I have to farm for it, which is very likely. If I do have to farm for it, I'll show you the spot that I like to farm for it, A, and B, it'll be, you know, fast-forwarded or cut in some way, so it's not so boring to watch. Alright, let's go ahead and explore in this area first. There we go. I was like, there's going to be a guy here. When they're holding their blade like that, it means that they might parry you, so I recommend if you see them holding like their blade sideways like that, don't strike them because they're likely to pull off a parry on you. These guys, I'm gonna try and wipe them out before they even can think about it, or just, you know, fail, or just do that. Are you? Yeah, he's coming for me. This guy also has a sword that he can drop. It's the Great Sword of Carthus, which is different than, or it's the Great Curved Sword of Carthus, excuse me, because it is a curved sword. So he's holding the Great Curved Sword of Carthus, which is a much larger weapon. It's stronger than the Curved Sword of Carthus, but not nearly as quick, and I prefer the General Curved Sword of Carthus myself. Both of them are good weapons if you are a deck-style player. However, like I said, you know where my preference lies. My preference lies with quickness, especially after playing Bloodborne. Especially after that. I got spoiled with how quick those weapons are. At least with the Saw Cleaver, which was my favorite weapon. Man, I feel good, man. These parries are actually doing me good today. Feels good. Alright, so, let's see. Which way do I want to go first? You know what we're going to do first is we're going to go up to the left here because there's an archer who I want to take care of, who can be quite a pain in the ass if you don't. Alright, archer gone. So the archer will shoot at you from above here. This is sort of his perch up here. He'll shoot you down from that bridge. So if you're wondering where arrows are being shot at you, if they are, most likely from that perch right there. Ooh, see, I got a drop, but not what I wanted. I got a scimitar. That's fine. You're going to find a bunch of dex-based weapons from these guys, as they're known to be skilled swordsmen. So obviously with the skill-based stuff, you tend to get dex. See that? I meant to kick, and I screwed up my kick. So there you have. At least, you know what? At least I demonstrated by messing up my kick that they're going to parry you when they're like that. But yeah, I definitely meant to kick there. Doesn't matter. Kind of worked out for the best, so I could showcase things, right? Right. Yeah, so, for a moment he had his sword just one-handed and it wasn't held sideways, so I was like, alright, looks like I'm safe for the time being. As far as the location goes and the atmosphere of this area for looking around, I don't really find any of it that interesting. We're just kind of in another catacombs, which we've seen in Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2. I mean, it looks nice. It's, you know, it's a pretty looking catacombs. I actually think the Dark Souls 1 catacombs are my favorite, though, of the 3. Simply because I just find the layout of it to be the most interesting because there's so many skips you can do. Like this skip that I just did right here, which I guess I should have mentioned. So yeah, like I just did yet another sort of skip thing here. This guy is going to be a reviving one. I just happen to remember that from doing this so many times. But yeah, I mean, this area is fine. Don't get me wrong. It's fine. It's cool. I think Dark Souls 1 had the best one. And it's just had a little waterfall thing running throughout it. A lot of different sort of regions within it. It looked very different at parts. And this is all sort of a lot of the same. Anyways, we get the Carthus Pyromancy Tome here, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Carthus Pyromancy Tome. Pyromancy Tome from Carthus containing pyromancies crafted for battle. Carthus pyromancies developed in isolation from other forms, explaining their divergent evolution. So, there you go. Now here we have what looks to be a dead end. It's actually more obvious here than the other side. And the other side's probably going to have a bunch of notes of people saying, hey look, there's an illusory wall that I'm going to kick open. See that? Anyways, I think it's more obvious from this side that it's an illusory wall as opposed to here where it just looks like a little bit more like it could be any other wall. And here we have what I consider to be one of the harder enemies in the game just because they're quick, they're smart, you have to kind of play more of a dodging game with these guys. Unless you stun lock them. When you stun lock them, you can get them pretty good, but I think these guys are some of the harder enemies. I would focus more if you're having trouble with them on just trying to dodge an attack, hit them once, dodge an attack, hit them once. That would be my advice. Alright, so where we're at now is an underneath area where here is where I fought those guys with the great curved swords. And there you have another entrance over there. And if I go back over this way... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back over this way in just a moment to show where this leads to. Mainly because I want to go use that shortcut up there and show it off. So it'll just be a good way to tie me back and bring me back to that shortcut. Get a couple more Titanite shards. Lots of Titanite shards, which is good considering I'm about to switch weapons. Here you have kind of a trap if you... I don't know, I guess if you rush through and return, there'll just be 4 skeletons. Now, if you are continuing Henri's quest, you want to go this way, just for more dialogue, it actually doesn't matter. So, if you miss this, it's not going to affect Henri's quest, but it's just a nice find that you can find if you're looking around and you want more of the full quest. So, we find Henri over here now in the catacombs, as we found out they had to leave, because, you know, the Cathedral of the Deep wasn't right. Aldrich left to go to Irithyll of the Boreal Valley, and this is the way through. So, what's up, Henri?
Oh, hello. How very fortunate. Have you seen my companion, Horace? To my shame, I was snared by a trap and we've become separated. I've not been able to find him since.
Sorry, Henri.
I see. Horace is a valiant knight. He can look after himself, no question. He's probably searching for me right now, with twice the resolve. If you happen upon him, please tell him that I remain in the catacombs and will lay prism stones to guide him, as always. Please send him my word, I beg of you. May the flames guide your way.
I find this questline with Horace to be a little strange. She loses sight of where Horace is at, and what Horace is doing, I'm a little confused on, to be honest, but we'll find out more about it later, and I'll talk about it a little bit later when that does happen.
If you happen upon Horace, please tell him that I remain in the catacombs and will lay prism stones to guide him, as always. Please send him my word, I beg of you. May the flames guide you.
Alright, so yeah, she's just gonna remain here. You know, gotta wait for her bro, Horace, which is smart, you know, you lose someone. This is just general advice. Lose someone, stay put, because the other person is going to come searching for you. If you both start searching for each other, you have more of a likelihood to have arrows stuck in your neck and in your back through a shield somehow. That's the advice that I tend to hear from people. When I get lost from my parents as a kid, that's what they would tell me. You know, they'd be like, stay where you are so we can find you, otherwise you're going to get an arrow shot through your neck. And I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense in today's day and age. Completely makes sense. So this underground path I'm going through is basically just another wraparound. That's kind of all it is. There's not really much more to it. This area has a lot of different paths, as you're noticing. Oh, shoot. I always do that. Every single time. I always forget there's a trap there. And somehow every time I also manage to not get hit by it. Like, I'm always lucky and unlucky at the same time. I always step on it and then don't get hit. So, I'm a lucky dude. And that's the exact opposite of what happens to me in Bloodborne, because I definitely get nailed by that stuff in Bloodborne every time it happens. Which is, I think, a more difficult game overall, so I don't know if I'm lucky or unlucky. Alright, so we're going to take this shortcut path this time, just so, A, so I can show it off. B, because there's also an archer up here, and it's just might as well take him out. So this is one of those archers who was shooting at us when I was over on that ledge. Here, over yonder, over that way. Can I, oh. Let's see, I just want to test out a point. Just want to, here we go, over that way. I know you guys picked up on it right away. I believe in you. I just wanted to do that. And yet another archer. So several archers up here. You don't really have to take them out. There is an item over there. So it's kind of nice just for grabbing that item. So you don't have to worry about the archers. Also, again, bear in mind that ball. Bear in mind that ball up there. I do like that you can see it. Not that you necessarily know what it's going to do until it happens. But it's a nice touch that you can at least see it. And there we go, it's dropped down now that we've dropped to this point where the trap is, and it's actually being controlled by this guy right here. I like how he's an idiot and his own trap can kill him. He's going to drop an alluring skull for us, and once this comes back, because he's dead, as he's the one who's controlling it, it'll now break open. And underneath the mask is an undead bone shard. So that's how you get yet another one of the undead bone shards. From my understanding, my undead bone shard guide, it seems like that was one of the ones that a lot of people missed. Also, as far as the way I went, that's the best way to avoid getting hit by that thing. Otherwise, you kind of just want to run straight down. This thing here, really, in my opinion, is more just to be a trap. Because if you're going for this and you get hit by that, it's going to knock you off the ledge and you're going to fall to your death. As it's just an ember, so it's nice, but it's not super important. I mean, don't get me wrong, I will take an ember if you leave one for me. Happily so. And here we find yet more spooky skeletons of the surviving type, as these ones all have their glowy eyes. I'm trying to take out this guy in the back because he throws those pots that have those annoying homing the annoying homing pottery, as I will call it. Oh, what's interesting is it looks like it didn't hurt me from actually breaking on my face. I guess it's only the dark that spews out of it that'll hurt you. So that is the introduction to one element of this area. So we're going to have a bunch of these skeletons throwing pots that have dark coming out of it. Kind of an abyssy dark, if you look at it, which makes sense considering, again, this was an area that the Abyss Watchers were guarding over. But if we start rolling through this area, that's a trap, by the way, that pot is on top of. But I'm going to go ahead and activate it just to show it off. Oh my god, okay. All of those dark things that were coming at me were coming out of the pots. That was just bad luck, I think. But we come and get our Carthus Milk Ring, and I really like the Carthus equipment because it's based for dex. So the Carthus Milk Ring slightly boosts dexterity and obscures rolling. Ring worn by warriors of the Sand Kingdom of Carthus. Slightly boosts dexterity and obscures the wearer while rolling. The sword technique of Carthus allows for fluid movement with a curved sword. Masters of the technique are said to dazzle their opponents by moving as weightlessly as a grain of sand. They live for their High Lord Volnir, conqueror of most kingdoms known to their people. Yeah, I had a lot of people mad at me in my my Volnir lore video for pronouncing Volnir as Wolnir, because I didn't know, but now I do. Also, the Japanese katakana of Volnir has it as Woruniru. which would mean that they'd have his Warunuru, or something similar to that, or Naru if it was Volnir, which is not. So it's definitely at least Volnir, and then I assume it's probably Volnir. So, anyways, a couple things from that, and we're gonna go ahead and equip it for now, for the time being. Excuse my rolling, increases my dex, which is all good for me considering that's my build. But beyond that, what we find out is, again, it's a Kingdom of the Sand, and they're good with all this sort of dex-related stuff. And this is kind of similar to... Ah, jeez. See, once again, I knew that thing existed, and I was thinking about it last time I stepped on the other trap. Like, oh, well, I better remember this one at least, and of course I did not. You can use it to your advantage, though, or at least try to, so let's try to do that here. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. All right, here we go. Come on. Work to my advantage. Beautiful. Sort of did. It wasn't a perfect match, but it kind of did. Looked like he had glowy eyes. I want to make sure he doesn't come back to life. I don't... Oh. Oh, wow. Apparently he is. I didn't think he would for some reason. Damn, those glowy eyes. All right. Anyways, there's a lot of similarities between Carthus and the desert land of Jugo from Dark Souls 2. Now, there's a lot of people that pointed out to me that just because they're both deserts and they both have pyromancy and they both have corrosive acid from them doesn't mean they're the same place. It just means that perhaps... God! Oh my god, I don't know how I survived that. I'm just playing really sloppy right now. I shouldn't be playing so aggressively, especially since I'm so injured. Anyways, it doesn't necessarily mean they're the same place, but I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. Anyways, and just for the time being, until I hear otherwise. Now, doesn't mean it is. Again, this is more of, I guess, with it being Jugo, I just think there's enough similarities they could say it might be. It might be. There's just a giant pile of bones here. It's just, I don't know. It's just a cool sight. I grabbed it for my lore videos. Now, considering that I'm out of Estus, I probably should not go this way. So instead, we're going to drop down here, just because I know it exists, and I'm a cheater. That's the only reason. Really, the only reason. All right, and we're also going to activate what this guy up here, see there, that guy up there? Well, he's going to do his thing, I believe. Where's your ball, dude? Okay, apparently not. So, that ball right there that activates is obviously from that guy. But since I was almost dead, I'm activating the bonfire this way. So, here you have the other bonfire that we're looking for. So, I'll show you the way that I was coming from, and then actually we're going to be at the area where I like to farm for the Carthus Curved Sword. So, it's perfect. Also, it's a good place. Might as well just show my technique here. So, here's the other end of where I decided to avoid just because I didn't want to have to deal with two of these guys. You can use this ball, though, to try to kill them and lure them out. And by doing so, you're killing two of them, and both of them have a chance of dropping the Carthus Curved Sword. So that is what I like to do in order to try and get it. You also have up here... Oh, wow, what do you know? Another fire trap. Where are you going to shoot from? Okay, shooting from that side. But yeah, anyway, so that right up ahead is where I came from, and if we go straight over this way, there's a drop down here, which is... There's no reason really to do it. It's more so a trap, I'd say, because you're going for this ember and you fall down into that. And yeah, there you go. It's the way to the first bonfire of this area. So, with that, I'm going to start farming for my favorite weapon. Right, Gerardo? Right. And I guess, I don't know what I'll do. Speed up, some other sort of thing. It'll be fun. Whatever. See you guys, or maybe I'll just do it right when I pick up the weapon. So, see you guys shortly. Let's also pick up this real quick. Large Titanite Shard, cool. you guys just get smarter? Are you guys learning? Well, this is taking way longer than I expected, so... I mean, it's definitely just, you know, poop shoot, but might as well drop a rusty gold coin and see if that helps me at all. Nothing. Nothing! Alright, the one guy I had the most pathetic fight with ever had my Carthus Curved Sword. Oh yeah, it only took me like 8 minutes, which actually, all considering, not too bad, especially after some of my King's Field ones that I was doing. I did in every King's Field game there's a super rare sword, and in my Let's Plays of those King's Field games I always made sure to get them and show the speed up, and those sometimes took up to like 3 hours, so 9 minutes, not so bad, not so bad. Alright, Carthus Curved Sword. This weapon's thick, heavy blade is crafted to cause bleeding and requires ample strength and dexterity to wield effectively, suggesting that the swordsmen of Carthus were amongst the mightiest, which is why I want your mighty sword. I should probably also compare the stats, but I'll do that when we get to Andre of Astoria. Plus, I got an Undead Bone Shard to utilize, so I'll see you guys in Firelink Shrine. First things first, because I'm very likely to forget because I know myself. We're gonna burn that Undead Bone Shard. Alright, and now we're gonna go ahead and upgrade my Carthus Curved Sword. And just check out how quick this is. Look at that speed. Look at that speed. Uchigatana, it's all like... takes a moment. Like, you gotta wind it up. Gotta wind it up for that one. Carthus Curved Sword, right away, immediate strike. It's like the Saw Cleaver all over again. I love it, and I don't care what anybody says. Alright, we're gonna reinforce my... Let's try to Estus Flash just to double check and make sure I didn't forget anything. Alright, so just to compare stats, right? So, if in order to properly compare stats, I could get them the same level, but right now we have this at a D and a C. So D for the strength bonus, C for the dex bonus. This is a D and about to become a C for the Carthus Curved Sword. Just to be clear, the Carthus Curved Sword is a dex weapon, but it's more so a quality weapon, so you guys are aware. Strength is still going to boost it up. It doesn't get too high of a dexterity bonus. I just happen to really like the speed of it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this up to +4 so we can actually properly compare. Alright, see that? Because I raised up my Uchigatana to +4, I don't have quite enough to get my Carthus Curved Sword to +5. But anyways, Carthus Curved Sword +5 actually has slightly more. If you look at the physical, the bonus, it's at +69, whereas the Uchigatana is at +65. So they actually have the same general attack, which is 161 at +4, but Carthus Curved Sword is slightly better. And then when you look at the +6, Carthus Curved Sword again is now at 76 as opposed to 72, so slightly stronger, But the main thing to me isn't that it's slightly stronger, it's that it's quicker, and that's really what I was looking for with it. And I imagine this episode I'll probably get one more large Titanite shard. It's pretty likely. Let's see if I can hit yet another level up. Let's go ahead and check on that.
Welcomes. Very then.
Can I? Can't. Nope. Oh well. That's all right. So I'll see you guys back in the catacombs. All right. Cool. Back in the catacombs, and the first thing we're gonna want to deal with is this number right here. What I like to do is go towards this entrance and back away. You can't outrun this thing, at least as far as I can tell, because I've never been able to. But by coming towards this entrance, you're going to activate the rats coming towards it. And there's a chance you can wipe out 3 of the rats right away by doing that. We're going to want to take out that guy up there, but we're going to do that in a little bit. I don't feel too rushed to do it quite yet. There is another item I want to get first as we take out this rat lord. Second one we've seen, by a giant pile of dead people, by the way. And these aren't even dead skeletons. This is just a giant pile of dead people who haven't deteriorated into skeletons. So more fresh bodies for you all over here. If we look up, we're going to see a lot of annoying traps here. I got my flame ready to go. Don't know if it actually does that much more damage. And we also find skeleton wheels. They're back. Not nearly as dangerous as the skeleton wheels in Dark Souls 1. Like, seriously, nowhere near as bad. It's kind of like how Dark Souls 2 had skeleton wheels back again, and they weren't nearly as terrifying or bad as the skeleton wheels in Dark Souls 1. Just nothing can compare to those ones. Nothing. Like, see, they don't have that great of range, and you can actually knock them out of spinning mid-strike, or just by, if you hit them in the middle of their spinning towards you. Also, what I'm trying to do right now is just, as you can see those guys falling on top of me, my goal is just to kill the skeleton wheels so I don't have to think about them, and then I'll go for all these slime things that have been dropping down. And that way I'm making these slime guys drop down by doing that. Alright, let's see how a holded R2 does. Excuse me, let me try that again. 159 for damage, and then if I do two-hand strike, that's 46. So let's see if it's actually any better. So if we switch to this, two-handed strike is only 67, but you can strike at them way quicker, so I don't know. I've really never determined which is a quicker way to kill them, just because this strike is so quick. It kind of makes up for the fact that it's not as powerful. Especially the fact that you can hit multiple things at once with it. But we'll stick to the torch for now. Couple Titanite shards. Not my large one that I need, though. Not that large one that I want. Alright, let's see if there's more of these slime guys I can make drop. Yeah, seriously, these skeleton wheels just not even a thing, man. They're just nowhere near as terrifying as they were in Dark Souls 1. As we walk, literally walking on corpses, by the way, if you look down. I don't know if I noticed that before. I knew that there were corpses all around, but I don't know if I noticed the extent of how many of them you walk on. Oh, wow. Charged R2, not even fully charged, is 159. That's not that much worse. Maybe quicker just to do non-charged R2s. I wonder how much damage that'll do. Alright, so looking up, we've actually got a whole row of these slime guys. So, bunches and bunches of them. I want to try my R2 thing. Okay, that's 59, not at all holding, so not worth it. Not worth it. Yo, you want to drop, man? You want to fall? And this one is guarding one of my favorite rings, the Carthus Blood Ring. I love using this thing. I love it. I mean, some people might not like it, but it is the ring for me, and I will show you why momentarily. It's going to give you the same lore as the Carthus Milk Ring, but with the whole Carthus thing, it is good for dex-style builds. And what does the dex build like to do? You like to roll away from things. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. Alright, so, Carthus Blood Ring. Boosts rolling invincibility at the cost of defense. So, I believe it gives you more iframes. And I could be mistaken in that, but that is what I believe it does. Now, I'm replacing my Blood Ring with it, or my Milk Ring with it. Even though I know the Milk Ring gives me more dex and obscures my rolling, I'd rather have the Chloranthia Ring for the boost stamina. Definitely rather have that Estus Ring for the boost HP restoration. And then Silver Serpent Ring is always just nice to have. Okay, so yeah, that's this little outpost right here. Also, if you notice this drop right there, where there's the crack in the ceiling, that is where the drop was earlier, where I was fighting those Carthus skeleton warriors who had the Carthus Curved Sword. So that's where that drop will lead you to if you choose to take it or accidentally take it. Now, if we run this way, we can see things to come, which is that bridge over yonder. Whoops. Actually, you know what I need to do? I don't need it anymore. The rusty gold ring. Oh, I got invaded by Night Slayer at Sorig. Wait. Isn't he invading me a little bit early? I thought he invaded me later for some reason. Huh. Maybe this is where he... Oh, I guess this is where he invades you. Alright, well... Oh, whoop, I messed that up. Whew, man, that was close. That was a close call. I was like, he's got a slow sword. It'll be all good. Nope, not when it's me, and I mess up my... Jeez. Thought I had some more stamina to play with. There we go. You got a slow sword. I should be able to parry you, okay, because your sword is crap. So slow. Nope. I actually forgot he invaded here, so I've probably missed this a bunch of times. Also, he seems to be able to prevent me from kicking his shield away when he does that. Or... Oh, there we go. I was going to say, or it's just a good enough shield. I should be focusing on parrying him, really. See what happens when you focus on parrying. Sometimes I miss horribly, like my last PvP battle, but this time, because his weapon was so slow, it was fine. Alright, we get my thanks and a Night Slayer ring, which actually relates to Sorig, so let's go ahead and take a look at that ring. Night Slayer ring. Enemies lose more stamina when guarding attacks, which is good to do which makes sense why he would give that to you, because that's what he was doing to you, so you can make him lose his stamina. Ring of the Savage Sorig, more commonly known as the Night Slayer. Long ago, Sorig engaged the guardians of an ancient city in a bloody confrontation and returned with their rings as his prize, still frozen on their dismembered fingers. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Sorig might have been in Dark Souls 2, but I could be completely off in this, but I think he might have been. The other thing we get is the My Thanks gesture, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Actually, let's switch to it. I don't need rest anymore, that's fine. Where is My Thanks? Oh, it looks like the war cry, doesn't it? I just might be able to do... It's definitely the war cry! We can go back to Kita Edition! Oh, I could definitely bring that back. I know a lot of you have been wanting it back, so maybe next episode will be the one. For some reason, I thought he had a war cry he gave you, but that looks pretty reminiscent of the Kita war cry. Alright, let's go ahead and take out the ninja guy over here. Just so I don't have to deal with him later, because, like I said, these guys can be pretty tough. Unless you're Kita. Apparently Kita's just good at them. Oh, nope. Take back what I said. Take back everything I said. They don't even drop much good stuff, either. Just a bunch of crap. Alright, one of these is going to be in a secret passage. Not that important, honestly. It's kind of a pointless secret passage, really. But actually, you know, now that I think about it, the thing to think about with this place, though, we're going to see something that looks pretty much, which is, well, not pretty much, but it is the exact same as this area. So if you remember the layout of this area in this one room, it's actually going to come back and be kind of important. So there is that, I suppose. Alright, we can kill this guy who's controlling the thing, which is what I'm going to call it. And, yep, another one of these ninja guys. I'll kill you from below. That sounds really bad. Come to me. Come to me. Step on my head. Wow, that strategy worked really well, actually. And these guys have Carthus Rouge on their... well, they have fire on their arrows, but I think it happens to be Carthus Rouge, and that's just how it looks. More Carthus Rouge here. Also, I've, again, messed up and stepped on a trap and didn't even notice it, so... Gotta continue the trend, right? Gotta continue the trend. Alright, so I've never found a secret passage up here, but in the other area that looks the same, there's another passage up here, so... That's kind of why I'm double checking right now. I know I checked my first game. I checked for every wall secret passages. For the most part, I've just memorized them at this point from playing the game enough. Oh, geez, I'm getting too greedy. Way too greedy here. So, yeah, if we'd taken the other path, really what it would have done for us is just allowed me to fight this guy a little bit earlier. Also, if you notice, his eyes are glowing, so he's going to come back. I actually never noticed that before until just now, because just now I was paying a little more attention to it, but I always wondered why before, because I had noticed another guy would start attacking me all of a sudden, and I had no idea where he came from. Apparently it's just because this guy was one of the glowy eye versions. Anyways, this right here is that passage that I opened up. That's it. It's just a wraparound, so from an area, again, that we could have gone to without even needing a secret passage. But we do get the Grave Warden's Ashes here, which is interesting. So, Grave Warden's Ashes, umbral ash of the Grave Warden of the Catacombs of Carthus. With this, the shrine handmaid will prepare new items. The old man began as a squire, carrying his master's accoutrements. He ended his days a Grave Warden and carried them still. So, it's interesting to me because I guess this old man here is a Grave Warden, or as a squire who became a Grave Warden. But the question is, who is his master? You have to wonder if his master is the boss of this region. Well, we've heard about him, is Volnir, since we have heard of him at this point. I can say that, I think, without too much of a spoiler. Now, this area I like a lot because this is where the level starts to actually change a bit, and I think this one particular part is really cool. It's just the rest of it looks kind of bland to me, but this guy just kind of looking out in the distance. Remember how there was that one guy earlier who we could just, like, knock off the edge? As this guy's staring at the, Whoa, that is not what I wanted to do. That is not what I wanted to do. Yep, that is what I wanted. Trying to knock you off the edge. And, yeah, he's staring at this bridge here, so. This is a permanent fixture here. Suspended bridge is wearing thin. So that is from the developers. So, bear that in mind here, as it is from the developers. Also, we got a yellow bug pellet. I don't know if... Yeah, actually, that does have some lore to it, interestingly enough. Sometimes these random items have some good lore. So, the Grave Wardens of Carthus used these to repel a great sandworm. The worm tumbled into the catacombs and proceeded to dominate its new home in the smoldering lake. So, apparently, there's a great sandworm in what I assume would be, presumably, in my opinion... So... started in the desert area of Carthus, which is presumably above where we're at right now. And then this great sandworm tumbled into the catacombs, which is where we're at right now, and then even further into an area called the Smoldering Lake. So that is worth considering. For your consideration. Give me some large titanite shards. Come on, area. Come on. Black bug pellet is not what I need. That is not what I need. Alright, so let's go ahead and go up this path before we head to the bridge. Specifically because, why look, Henri. Henri is back. Hey, what's up, Henri?
Ah, hello. We meet again. Have you seen Horace anywhere?
Still haven't, sorry.
Oh yes, I see. I've searched high and low with no luck. Perhaps he's left the catacombs. Oh, Horace, where have you run off to? Oh, Horace.
So, I think you do have to find her here.
Have you abandoned me? No. What a horrible thought.
Alright, so have you abandoned me? Oh, what a horrible thought. That's another thing she can say. So there's two ways to get across here. One is I could just drop down right there and go towards this, like, wraparound to where Henri is at. And I think actually you can drop as early as right here if you notice, but safer to do it over closer to Henri. And yeah, I think you have to talk to her at that point to continue this quest, FYI. I could be mistaken. You might be able to just do it a little bit later, but the main thing is you have to do this part of the quest before you go into Irithyll. Unless I'm mistaken and something has changed, that's what it was to my knowledge. So you want to finish her quest line before going to Irithyll. So think about that for sure if you want to continue her quest line. Anyways, if we step on this bridge, these skeletons are going to pop up and start chasing you, Jason of the Argonaut style. So you could wrap around Henri's way as they'll chase you up there and through. Or remember how this bridge was wearing thin? That is a clue from the developers that you can do this number on the skeletons, which I absolutely love. Fun little thing, the developers gave you a hint towards it. And this is something just from that one hint I was able to figure out without needing anyone to tell me, which was nice. Now, the one thing I didn't figure out on my own is that this becomes a bridge. I did notice eventually from searching that you could drop down there, and I did so and got hurt. You can actually survive that drop, but easier way is just to go down this bridge. So before I do that, though, I do want to show that if you continue forwards, you're going to come to this chamber, and I'm not going to go in there quite yet, but that is where the boss is. And because I want to make sure I don't mess up Henri's quest, I'm not going to do that yet. I think it's specifically if you step into Irithyll where it messes it up, but I could be wrong. I don't know what the exact trigger is. But you actually have to find this secret area before proceeding properly through Irithyll. Otherwise, you can't finish Henri's quest. And her quest is imperative to the Halloween thing I'm doing. They're actually intertwined, so we definitely want to do that. Also, if we look down, we can see a bunch of items down there. I wonder... there's something else I'm looking for. And there's actually a person down there, too. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it. Why, that looks a lot like Horus, doesn't it? Why, yes. It has his same helmet and armor. What is Horus doing down there? I don't know. Up here, we have a demon stomping around. We could go ahead and take care of. And the funny thing is, there's a bunch of skeletons here who he actually fights with. But there's also this this mimic here, and you can employ this mimic to help you, which is what we're going to do, or attempt to do if I don't get killed first. Holy bejesus, I am not doing good, and I'm probably going to get slammed by one of these guys. I'm trying to get these guys to fight each other because I know you can. And this guy's kind of dangerous. It's more if he has a really powerful area of effect attack. Okay, I don't know where the mimic is, but it doesn't seem to want to help me out. Anyway, specifically his area of effect attack is pretty dangerous, so... looks like that's what he might be doing right now! Nope, apparently not. Where? Oh, apparently he killed the mimic. So, oh wow, we got lucky. We got a symbol of Avarice from it. And the Black Blaze is actual drop. The symbol of Avarice was just me getting lucky there. So thank you, buddy. Thank you for helping me get that symbol of Avarice. Is that your AoE? Yes, it is. Alright, so that... really, really powerful. I think, at least for me, that would have been a one-hit kill. Alright, let's get out of the way from your AoE again, because that would just absolutely slaughter me. But yeah, if you notice, he actually killed a skeleton who was in my way. Jeez. Nope. I want to kill him before he does it. Okay, got it. I mean, I could have tried to run away, but I figured he had low enough health that I could kill him. So remember that Soul of Demon that we couldn't get anything from that was really weird since we killed this guy earlier? This is where you actually get the Soul of a Demon. So for whatever reason, killing that other demon that's the exact same earlier who Sigvard helps you with doesn't... like, it just unlocks showing you what you can get with the Soul of a Demon, but you don't get the soul from it. So here's where you get that. So Soul of a Demon, which you can see is red. So interestingly, as I think I noted before, the colors actually seem to matter in how the souls look, which we'll see more so as we look more into all of this. But anyways, one of the Twisted Souls steeped in strength. Demons were born of the Chaos Flame, but the flame has not survived, and the demons are a dying race. So the Chaos Flame from Dark Souls 1 is dying. Perhaps because you killed the Bed of Chaos in Dark Souls 1, which is, you know, where the flame came from. Perhaps, I think that's probably why. And because of that, because you got rid of that fire, the demons are a dying race. And they're becoming extinct, and that's very much hinting towards the dynamic of fire and how it's going to relate to you too. And like, if that's what happened to demons when their flame died away and that they're going extinct, what's going to happen to all the lords and all the, like, every race that's based off of the first flame? So, a cool dual dynamic there. And again, with this area, you have a bunch of reviving skeletons. Just look at their eyes, and you will see that. Oh, there we go. There's that large Titanite shard I was looking for. So, always worth it to explore every little area. Plus, we get more souls. I think I can get 2 level ups at this point, so that's nice. You gonna come back anytime soon? Thank you. I like that double miss there. Nice job, me. Yeah, eh? Got him. Get him! And cool. That wraps up this little area right here. You know what I didn't look at, though, is the black blade that I picked up. Oh, people would go crazy if I didn't. Alright. Black blade is very similar to one of the blades in Dark Souls 2, actually, which is found in the Iron Keep. A short katana wielded by the swordsman and distinguished guest of High Lord Volnir. This shiny black blade is thick but shorter than the typical katana. The swordsman was a master of a rare technique, traces of which can be observed in this weapon's strong attack. So Volnir actually reminds me a lot of the Old Iron King from Dark Souls 2 in a lot of ways, and specifically that he seemed to entertain guests who were good swordsmen. Alright, and then here we get the Old Sage's Blindfold and the Witch's Ring. Now that's pretty, this stuff's pretty interesting that we're seeing here. It's a hint of things to come. Should have looked at the symbol of Avarice too. Increases soul absorption from defeated enemies as well as item discovery, but the Curse of the Branded also drains HP. So you're going to drain HP by doing that. And if any of you watched Kriken's video, what's his name? Ember Pants. I can't remember. That's all right. I've only watched the first episode, even though I'm friendly with Kriken and Vadi, but... And actually, Bed Bananas too, which is weird, randomly. Anyways, Symbol of Avarice is what Vadi tricked Kriken into wearing in the first episode, which was really funny. So, let's see. We get the Old Sage's Blindfold. Attire of the Pyromancers of the Great Swamp, particularly flavored by Old Sages. The large blindfold blocks out unnecessary light, allowing one to observe a pyromancy's true essence. The flame reveals all and obscures all. Seems connected to Carthus, being that we found out a lot about pyromancy and flame being related to... Well, pyromancy specifically being related to Carthus. The other thing that we got, though, was the old witch's ring. The Witch's Ring. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters, scorched by the flame of chaos, taught humans the art of pyromancy and offered them this ring. Every pyromancer is familiar with the parable that tells of the witches espousing the need to fear the flame and teaching the art of pyromancy to men in hopes that they might learn to control it. So, I'm assuming that has to do with the chaos flame before it went out of control. Perhaps. But regardless... This is a bunch of stuff that we're seeing here now, which is crazy. So, a demon's here. We have this pyromancy-related Old Sage's Blindfold, and now the Witch's Ring from Dark Souls 1 relating to Izalith. So, all this stuff, Dark Souls 1 Izalith related here. So, that's actually going to wrap up this episode, as we're pretty much right on time. I'm going to go ahead and might as well level up before I move on, though. So, I'll see you guys in Firelink Shrine, level up, and that's going to wrap us up.
Welcome. Very well.
I would love to level up if you would give me the opportunity. Let's go with another Dex, and let's go with Vigor. And actually, you know what else I should do while I'm here, more importantly, is level up my Carthus Curved Sword to +5. Now I'm going to be striking real hard. I'll tell you what needs smithing. My amazing Carthus Curved Sword to +5, not 6, +5. I feel so powerful now. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up this episode. So thank you so much for joining me this time around. And I will see you guys next time as we head into even deeper below the Carthus Catacombs. So, later guys. See you next time. Peace.